Hello everyone. Myself Assistant Professor Hina Gangrekar from Department of Computer Engineering, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University. I am going to teach you the subject software engineering. In this, first of all, we are going to learn about software and software engineering. In that, the first one is introduction to software engineering. Now first we will see what is software. So basically a software, there are the different form of a software. We can elaborate software in different forms, such as we can say that software is an instructions or a computer program that when executed provide desired features, function and performance. If we see the example of Google Meeting, if we take the software as a Google Meeting, then what are the desired features of that Google Meet? The features of a Google Meet is to provide the platform where the user can able to present its seminar or take lectures via the visualization, such as you can see or share your screens, or you can open your video screen, or you can open your microphone, you can pause your microphone. These are all the features of your Google Meet. The functions are you can add or you can admit your students, or you can present your screen. So these are the functions of your Google Meet. If we take the performance, the performance ratio is of your Google Meet is whatever I am going to display on my screen and whatever I am speaking, both should need to be present at the same time at your student screen. So this is the performance of your software if we take the Google Meet as an software. So here the features of all the features, functions and performance of your Google Meet are clear. If we take the software as a data structure that enables the programs to adequately manipulate information. So for elaborating this, if I take the example as you want to select your elective subject, so there are the multiple choices given for the student. From that, student should have to select only one subject as its elective subject. So this is the data structure where if I take the example of a Google form, then I create one Google form after the topic is select your elective subject. Then in that what I have given, the name of the elective, such as the name of the elective and the four options which are provided in your elective. Suppose we have a elective 4 as an input, and we have four subfields or sub lectures or sub subjects in your main elective, and from that you have to select one. So this is your data structure. Now what student have to visit that form, and student have to select that choice from one from the four given choices. Next one is the documentation that describe the operations and use of the program. Now we have to see the use of my created Google form, which is nothing but for selecting one elective from the given list. So the documentation is provided in the form of graph. The graph is as a percentage wise. There is some, if there are the four options, then one student will select suppose the number 4 multiple times, that is the ratio of the number 4 is greater, such as the 75%. So I will select that subject as your elective subject because the majority for of the students voted for that subject itself. So these are the software is as an instruction, the software is as a data structure, or the software is as a documentation. Now next we will see what is software. What is software is, the first one is what is software. The software is developed or engineered. It is not manufactured in the classical sense. We can elaborate it as there exist some similarities between software development and hardware manufacturing. These two activities are fundamentally different, as we know that the manufacturing of a hardware and the development of a software, these both are fundamentally different. In these both activities, the high quality is achieved through good design. Whatever we are developing, we should need to, what is our main focus? Main focus is to achieve the high quality with good design. But the manufacturing phase for the hardware can introduce quality problems that are non-existent or easily corrected for the software. That is, if there are some quality issues in your hardware, then you can able to you cannot overcome it in hardware. But if there are some quality issue with your software, then uh, you can easily correct it for the software. So both activities are dependent on the people, but the relationship between people applied and the work accomplished in entirely different. Both activities require the construction of a product, but the approaches are different. Software costs are concentrated in engineering. This means that software projects cannot be managed as if they were manufacturing product. This is all. Your software is developed or engineered. It is not manufactured in the classical sense. Now next one is, these are some characteristics of a software that are different from your hardware. The second one is, software doesn't wear out. How we can see that the software doesn't wear out? So see this wear versus deterioration. This is the graph which depict the failure rate as a function of a time for the hardware. The relationship often called the bathtub curve. See here, there is the relationship between your software failure rate. It is called as the bathtub. Indicates that hardware exhibits relatively high failure rate early in its life. These failures are often attributable to design or manufacturing defects. Defects are then corrected and failure rate drops to a steady state level for some period of a time. As time passes, however, the failure rate rises again, and hardware components suffer from the cumulative effects of a dust, vibration, abuse, temperature, extremes, and many other environmental maladies. So that's why hardware begins to wear out. Now, what is in the software case? Software is not susceptible to the environmental maladies that cause hardware to wear out. Therefore, the failure rate curve for the software should take the form of the idealized curve. See, so your actual curve is nothing but representation of your hardware curve, hardware failure. That is, hardware can be wear out, but software cannot be wear out. That's why the curve is a idealized curve. That is, undiscovered defect will cause high failure rates early in the life of the program. However, these are corrected without introducing other errors, and the curve flattens as shown. That is the idealized curve. The idealized curve is a gross oversimplification of actual failure model for software. However, the implication is clear. Software doesn't wear out, but it does deteriorate. Now, next one is, although the industry is moving towards component based construction, most software continues to be custom built. Now we are going to elaborate this. Consider the manner in which the control hardware for a computer based product is designed and built. The design engineer draws a simple semantic of the digital circuitry, does some fundamental analysis to ensure that proper function will be achieved, and then goes to the shelf where catalogs of digital components exist. Each integrated circuit has a part number, a defined and validated function, a well-defined interface, and a standard set of integration guidelines. After each component the selected is selected, it can be or ordered off the shelf. Next, are the building blocks of the ideas are, a software component should be designed and implemented so that it can be reused in many different programs. Modern reusable components encapsulate both data and the processing that is applied to the data. Enable the software engineer to create new application from the reusable parts. So this is overall what is your software. We elaborate each point one by one. We already elaborated. Now next one is we will see some application of a software. As we know that we are building the software, then we should need to know about why we are building the software, what are the application where we use this software. So there are the different application of a software such as system software, application software, engineering or scientific softwares, embedded software, product line software, web app or web application or artificial intelligence software. So first one is a system software. The system software is a collection of a program written to service other programs. Some system software such as compiler, editor and file management utilities process complex but determinate information structure other system application. For example, some system applications such as operating system, component, drivers, networking software, telecommunication processes process largely intermediate data. In either case, the system software area is characterized by heavy interaction with computer hardware, heavy usage by multiple users, concurrent operations that required scheduling, resource sharing, and sophisticated process management, complex data structure, and multiple external interfaces. Next one is the application software. Application software consists of standalone programs that solve a specific business need. Applications in this area process business or technical data in a way that facilitates business operations or management technical decision making. In addition to conventional data processing application software is used to control business function in real life. For example, point of scale transaction processing, real time manufacturing process control. Your applications such as next one is engineering or the scientific software. So the number crunching algorithm, engineering and scientific software application range from astronomy to volcanology, from automotive stress analysis to space shuttle orbital dynamics, and from molecular biology to automated manufacturing. However, modern applications within the engineering or scientific areas are moving away from conventional numerical algorithms. Computer aided design, system simulation, and other interactive applications have begun to take on real time and even system software characteristics. So these are the some engineering and scientific software. Now next one is the embedded software. Embedded software resides within a product or a system and is used to implement and control features and functions for the end users and for the system itself. Embedded software can perform limited and asterisk function, for example, keypad control for a microwave oven, or provide significant function and control capability, for example, digital functions in an automobile such as fuel control, dashboard, displays, braking system, your washing machine, microwave oven. Next, product line software designed to provide a specific capability for use by many different customers. Product line software can focus on a limited and exotic market place, for example, inventory control products, or address mass consumer market, for example, word processing, your spreadsheets, computer graphics, multimedia, entertainment, database management, personal and business financial application. Next, your software application is web application. Now we will see web applications as web apps span a wide area of application. In their simplest form, web apps can be little more than a set of linked hypertext files that present information using text and limited graphics. However, as e-commerce and Some applications grow in importance. Web apps are evolving into sophisticated computing environment that not only provide standalone features, computing functions, and content to the end user, but also are integrated with corporate database and business applications. Next application is artificial intelligence software. Artificial intelligence software makes use of non-numerical algorithms to solve complex problems that are not amenable to computations or straightforward analysis. Applications within these areas include robotics, expert system, pattern recognition, that is such as image and voice, artificial neural networks, theorem proving and game playing. Now, next one is some new categories of a software. We will see this. The software is open world computing such as pervasive or distributed computing, and software could be ubiquitous computing, that is a wireless network. It could be net sourcing the web as a computing engine, open source such as free source code open to the computing community, and such as we will see data mining, grid computing, cognitive machines, and software for nanotechnologies. Now, first one is open world computing. Millions of software engineers worldwide are hard at work on projects in one or more of these categories. In some cases, new systems are being built, but in others, existing applications are being corrected, adapted, and enhanced. It is common for a young software engineer to work on a program that is older than she is. Past generation of software people have left a legacy in each of the categories we have discussed. Hopefully, next one is ubiquitous computing. The rapid growth of wireless networking may soon lead to true distributed computing. The challenge for software engineer will be to develop system and application software that will allow small devices, personal computers, and enterprise systems to communicate across vast networks. Next one is net sourcing. The World Wide Web is rapidly becoming a computing engine as well as content provider. The challenge for software engineer is to architect simple, for example, personal financial planning and sophisticated applications that provide benefits to targeted end user market worldwide. Open source, a growing trend that results in distribution of source code for system application, for example operating system, database, and development environment, so that customer can make local modification. The challenge for software engineer is to build source code that is self descriptive, but more importantly to develop techniques that will enable both customer and developers to know what changes have been made and how those changes manifest themselves within the software. Next is some new economy. The challenge for software engineers to build applications that will facilitate mass communication and mass product distribution using concepts that are only for now forming. Each of these new challenges will undoubtedly obey the law of unintended consequences and have effects for business people, software engineer, and end user. So these are some software new categories. Now, next one is what is the legacy software? Legacy software, why must it change? Software must be adapted to meet the needs of a new computing environment. We will see what is the legacy software. That is, hundreds of thousands of computer programs fall into one of the seven broad application domain. We see that there is system, application, engineering software, embedded product or web app or AI application. Some of these are state of the art software just released to individualize industry and government, but Other programs are older, in some cases much older. These older programs often refers to as a legacy software. So here the challenge of the legacy system is how to improve the quality of your older software to achieve current requirement of your or current to satisfy your user. Now, legacy software systems were developed decades ago and have been continuously modified to meet changes in business requirements and computing platform. The prolif- proliferation of such systems is causing headache for large organizations who find them costly to maintain and risky to evolve. The quality of the legacy software are unfortunately there is one additional characteristics that can be present in legacy software, that is poor quality. Legacy software system or legacy system sometimes have inextensible design with code, poor or non-existent documentation, test cases and results that were never achieved. A poorly managed change history, the list can be quite long, and yet these systems support core business functions and are indispensable to the business. Next one, the only then what is the solution? The only one reasonable answer may be to do nothing, at least until the legacy system must undergo some significant change. If the legacy software meets the needs of its user and runs reliably, if it is broken and does not need to be fixed. However, as some time passes, legacy systems often evolve for one of more of the following reasons. First one is the software must be adapted to meet the needs of new computing environments or technology. Next one is the software must be enhanced to implement new business requirements. Next is the software must be extended to make it interoperable with more modern system or databases. The software must be re-architected to make it viable within the network environment, such as if we take the example of your WhatsApp. When the WhatsApp was developed, it can be only or you can install it only on your mobile phones, but later on they adapted that you can install it on your PCs also by scanning the code of your WhatsApp, and you can also take the access of your WhatsApp from your personal computers also. Then the software must be enhanced to implement new business requirements, such as you can business enhancements, that is you can first of all only you are able to exchange the messages, that is the text messages. Then you can apply then they will launch it for I think after I think text messages, the next one is for the recordings, after that the video, then business applications such as requirements they form the users can create the groups where they can exchange the data to many peoples. The software must be extended to make it interoperable with more modern system or databases, such as the huge amount of a file can also be accessed. And re-architecture, that is first of all we only put the DPs, that is our profile pictures. Now we can see that we can take the or keep the status whatever we want. So this is the re-architecture, it is viable within the network environment. So these are how you can improve the quality of your software. Next one, when these modes of evaluation occur, legacy software must be re-engineered so that it remains viable into the future. So this is overall today's lecture, which is based on what is the software, some definitions of a software, some applications of a software, and how you can improve the quality of your software. So you can improve the quality by adapted by enhancing your software, extended to make it interoperable, and re-architecture. So this is the overall overview of your software engineering. We will see next part in next lecture. Thank you.